Hello and thanks for joining us on the program Talking Politics on the digital first Pan-African News Network TS Television. I'm Musa Zeh Isesele, reaching you live from our studio here in Abuja, Nigeria. There is a vacant seat in the Imo North Senatorial District in the National Assembly, causing a bit of a commotion in the political space. A federal high court sitting in Abuja has ordered the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to issue a certificate of return to Senator Ifeanyi Ararume based on the result of the December 5th, 2020 Imo North senatorial by-election, having been declared as the valid candidate of the All Progressive Congress APC. Justice Taiwo, who delivered the judgment, ordered INEC to issue the certificate of return within 72 hours. According to him, with regard to the appeal court judgment in Abuja, the third defendant, Chukwuma Ibezim, remained disqualified. The judge held in the judgment that Senator Ararume remains the authentic candidate of the APC and should be declared the winner of the election. Now, few hours after this judgment, a state high court in Owerri, the Imo State capital, issued an order of interim injunction to the Independent National Electoral Commission restraining it from recognizing Senator Ifeanyi Ararume as the winner of the December 2020 Imo North senatorial candidate of the All Progressive Congress APC. The injunction also restrains INEC from issuing Ararume a certificate of return or any other instrument in his favor in respect of the said election, pending the hearing and determination of the motion on notice in the suit. According to Justice E.O. Agaba of the Owerri High Court, this followed an application by motion ex parte brought to it by the All Progressive Grand Alliance, APGA, by one Mr. Kelechi Soribe, a member of the Imo State Working Committee of APGA, and 5 others against Senator Ifeanyi Ararume, INEC, and the APC. These are two conflicting orders putting INEC in a confused position. We will look at this later on the show. But before then, we get into the conversation, or before we get into the conversation, let's bring you some trending political headlines.
President Muhammadu Buhari on Monday received former Speaker of the House of Representatives Dimeji Bankole and former Governor of Ogun State Benga Daniel, who recently defected to the ruling All Progressives Congress APC. They were accompanied to the presidential villa by the chairman, caretaker, Extraordinary Convention Planning Committee of the APC, and Governor of Yobe State Mai Mala Buni, governors of Jigawa State Mohammed Badaru and Kebbi Atiku Bagudu. Daniel was governor of Ogun State from 2003 to 2011, while Bankole was Speaker of the House of Representatives of Nigeria from 2007 to 2011 on the platform of the People's Democratic Party. The Independent National Electoral Commission has indefinitely suspended the Ekiti State by-election in Ekiti after 3 people, including a policewoman, were killed in violent clashes. The poll was to fill the vacancy for the Ekiti East 1 state constituency in the state. However, the Commission on Saturday, in a statement by the National Commissioner and Chairman, Information and Voter Education Committee, Festus Okoye, said that it received a report from the Resident Electoral Commissioner for Ekiti State that a by-election has been disrupted by violent attacks on voters, election officials, and security personnel. According to Okoye, the Commission made adequate arrangements for the election, with personnel and materials arrived on time in all the 39 polling units across 5 wards of the constituency for the 23,670 registered voters to exercise their franchise in a free and fair process. The Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Timi Presilva, has promised to ensure that every cent of the $1.5 billion proposed for the rehabilitation of the Port Harcourt refineries is accounted for.
They can hold me accountable and hold this government accountable. We will spend every dollar, every cent on this project and ensure that we deliver a refinery that works.
The decision of the federal government to rehabilitate the refinery in Rivers State with the sum has triggered debates in the country. While the government critics accuse it of corruption, others were concerned that adding such an amount of money to the country's debt burden would be dangerous. Silva, however, stated that there was no cause for alarm, as the government does not intend to borrow all the funds to rehabilitate the refinery.
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us on the program. Now we move into our conversation for the day. The embattled Imo North Senatorial District and the conflicting court orders. We have a state high court in Owerri that granted an application of motion ex parte to Mr. Frank Chukwuma Ibezin. We have another state high court order in Owerri issuing an interim injunction to the INEC to restrain Senator Ararume as the winner of the election. And finally, we have another federal high court order in Abuja ordering INEC to issue a certificate of return to Senator Ararume. Speaking to us on the program today is Mr. Henry Barnabas. He's a legal practitioner in Abuja. Mr. Henry, you're welcome to the show. First of all, as a legal practitioner, isn't this sort of a conflicting situation for the judiciary? What's your reaction to this?
You have to look at it from different perspectives, right?
Okay.
Now, the succeeding party, which will now maybe termed to around, he has an order from the Federal High Court,
all right,
which has said that he can be the senator representing his constituency. And then the other party, who has now tried to, look for different means to, halt that process. Now, the truth of the matter is that when we are looking at it from jurisdiction, if it's the Federal High Court or the State High Court that have jurisdiction, the truth of the matter, since they are all then either the Federal High Court or the State High Court, can have jurisdiction to hear the matter. But I think case to, approach a State High Court when the Federal High Court has already pronounced on that particular matter. Because the truth of the matter is that INEC will not issue when the period of appeal has not elapsed. And for pre-election matters, ordinarily, they would have just gone to the Court of Appeal and filed an appeal if they are not satisfied with the judgment of the Federal High Court. I think injunction is really, really premature, and it's also a form of photoshopping, and I understand the fact different mechanisms to, please our clients, but I think getting an injunction is really, really hasty and premature because INEC ordinarily would not, except they want to unbiased umpire, they would not issue a certificate when the period of appeal has not elapsed. The judgment from the Federal High Court is barely a month, and so if they wanted to go on appeal and go to the Court of Appeal, that would have been the best idea to take. So for now, for me, it's just the Court of Appeal would definitely pronounce on whatever that is happening because nothing would definitely happen until after the period of the appeal period, as the case will be. And mind you, the injunction in the High Court in Imo State is an ex parte injunction that was granted.
Okay.
So it means that injunction will elapse, and parties, will also join issues, and the court will make pronouncements.
Okay.
Right? And so it's also a waste of time. It's a waste of resources. Better, option would have been to, just go to the Court of Appeal and challenge the
okay, so sorry, sorry to cut you there. Now you've been able to give us insight into the matter and what it looks like. Now let's talk briefly on the role of the judiciary in election matters, whether pre-election, during election, or post-elections. What is their role supposed to be? Are they supposed to begin to issue such conflicting orders that put parties in confusion and all of that? What exactly is supposed to be the role of the judiciary when it comes to electioneering process?
When we look at judiciary in Nigeria, right, it's between the bar and the bench. Okay? Lawyers form the bar. Judges form the bench. Bench act on what is being brought to it.
Okay,
right?
okay.
It is not the judge that, file processes in court.
Okay.
It is not a judge that would go from federal high court, because we have a judge in federal high court who is sitting in Abuja, and another one that is sitting in Imo State. It is not any of the judges that would go and get matter. It's also lawyers that will file these applications in court. And every judge has the discretion to either give rulings or judgments, as the case may be, right? And it's based on what is brought before it. Well, I know you're trying to go into corruption of the judiciary in a way, but just tell me what aspect of Nigeria is not corrupt? Is it the judiciary, legislature, executive? All aspects of the country is corrupt, right? So it will be unfair to try to pin it on just the judiciary alone. How about our election process? How are these elections being conducted to the point? The only time that the judiciary is invited is when there are disputes between parties, right? And so if INEC can make it such a way that disputes are less, or political parties, as the case may be in this particular situation, because it's an issue between
the political parties, right?
Members, yes, right. And if the political parties has a very good dispute resolution mechanism, some of these matters will not come to court. And then the issue of even the judiciary to act upon it will not arise. But the fact that every process of the election is being flawed, then you have to invite, the judiciary. And of course, we are humans. Some persons will act, with good faith, and some persons will act with bad faith. And the fact that some few persons, within us who want to act in bad faith does not, entirely, truncate the judiciary itself, So give or take, it's what is being brought before us, that we act upon. And mind you, it is the same clients or these same politicians that will want to instruct their party, their lawyers. And by professional conduct, you are bound to, take the instruction of your client. Except it will lead to criminal activity or whatever. But you are bound to. And it's these persons that come to us. And why is it so? Because the process is flawed, and the dispute mechanism within the party, within every aspect, cannot be achieved. And then you call upon lawyers, and then judges will also sit on these matters and resolve.
Okay, Mr. Henry, before I let you go, this issue we're talking about is a recurrent decima in the Nigerian political space as regard elections. Now, we're 2 years away from the 2023 general elections. Anambra is already by the corner. Now, what sort of advice would you give when it comes to our electoral law? There's already an electoral law amendment that is ongoing, and civil society stakeholders have been putting pressure on the National Assembly to pass that law to see that we have a free and fair, credible election that is not questionable. What advice would you give, as regards amending our electoral law? What other recommendations as a legal practitioner would you give, to ensure that we have a seamless electoral process?
Truth be told, I wish I can give advice, but I think in this place I cannot. You know why? Now, look at the American election. It was an election that went through different phases within political parties, against political parties, from state level to the national. And just tell me, out of all those elections that were held in the United States of America, how many of them went to court? Very few of them. Why is this so? Because there's a political will from the people of America. There's a bit political will between the key players, and there's a political will as a country. My dear friend, it is very difficult to achieve that in Nigeria. Trying to carry out a process, religion will come in. And then we cannot have a headway. We cannot have a headway, except consciously we want to sit down as a nation and then truly and be binding by whatever process we want to adopt. Whatever process we want to adopt, many countries, America have their own process, and it's working for them. Why? because there's a consensus within the citizens. Until we have that, until we can achieve that thing, my brother, it will be very difficult. Keep having this sort of thing year in, year out.
Thank you so much, Mr. Harry Barnabas, a legal practitioner in Abuja. Thank you for the insights and the thoughts you have shared with us on the program today. I really do appreciate your time.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. Thanks for being a part of today's program, Talking Politics. Log on to our website, www.tstvnetwork.com, to watch more episodes of Talking Politics. Follow us across the social media platforms on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at TSTV Network. I'm Musa Zeh Isesele. Thanks for watching, and God bless you.